Jumping into the number 5 spot of the top 5 water flossers on Amazon is the Waterpik Cordless Advanced 2.0, coming in at a price tag of $79.99. Oh, and also if you want to check out any of the 5 water flossers in this video, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But the Advanced 2.0. Waterpik is one of the most well-known in this space, and the build quality, well, is right in line with what you'd expect. It's excellent. The fit in hand is really nice. It has a great grip due to the stippling on the handle. Even when wet, it's really quite easy to grab. In fact, it's the easiest to hold and best on the list when completely wet. And obviously you can use these in the shower if you want, so that is important, especially if you're an older person and have a harder time with grip. And for the performance here, this has 3 different levels of intensity. The lowest setting is nice and gentle, and the highest setting does a good job, but isn't crazy powerful like some of the others on the list. Still quite good, decently powerful, but if you prefer a really intense stream, this isn't that. Now for charging, this has an awesome magnetic charger that you don't have to worry about water around. It's just super convenient to charge. And that's in addition to the battery lasting up to a month regardless, so quite impressive. Now while I love the way that you charge this, the tank size is a con here. It is on the smaller side, so if you take a long time to do your water flossing, you're gonna have to refill the tank when you do it each time. That is definitely a con. Now for tips, this comes with 2 standard tips, then it comes with 2 different tips with brushes as well as a plug for traveling. You also get a tip carrying box and a carrying bag for the flosser itself. Now because this is definitely the easiest to actually grip and hold when wet, as well as the magnetic charger being really convenient, this is the best wireless water flosser on the list for older or elderly people. But if you are not that, let's move on to the number 4 spot. And this is the only one water flosser coming in at a price tag of $29.99. This is the best value pick on the list. If you don't want to spend a crazy amount of money, this one is actually really impressively good. For performance, it has 3 different levels of intensity and has a decently impressive powerful spray. In the high mode of the settings, the spray is actually pretty intensely powerful. Not like the number 3, 2, and 1 spot, but actually more so than the previous Waterpik. Not a ton more, but slightly more powerful than the Waterpik, which is impressive for about 30 bucks. Not just that, but the water tank here is also significantly bigger, lasting a whopping 75 seconds on high mode till it's fully drained. Now compare that to the Waterpik. The Waterpik only did 44 seconds. This is almost double. Now for the tips, this has 2 standard ones, a periodontal jet tip, and an orthodontic tip for braces and retainers. One more thing that this adds is a tongue scraper attachment. So it has that tongue scraper, but it also sprays down, which is a really cool thing to have. Now this does charge through USB Type-C. It doesn't have any special magnetic charging, so you do have to make sure that it's not wet when you plug it in, but these do last a long time, so it's not too big of a deal. But with that, let's move on to the number 3 spot, which is the AquaSonic wireless flosser. This comes in at a price tag of $39.95 at the time of filming, though prices can change, so check the links below again for current pricing. Now this one has an extremely intense pinpoint precision jet stream. If you want real intensity that is quite aggressive, if you got a lot of plaque built up, well, this is the one. And for the money, it's a pretty impressive spray. However, if you want it to also be able to be gentle, that's what this one doesn't do. It always stays pretty intense. Even in its lowest setting, it's pretty intense. Flossing with this was super freaking satisfying because you can really easily get bigger pieces of food and stuff dislodged. But I also had to be careful not to spray more delicate parts of my mouth. It really depends what you want. I personally like this intensity of spray, but I would also like to be able to dial it back a little bit more. Now for travelability, this is actually the easiest one on the list to travel with. It's super small and light, though the flip side of that is the tank has to be smaller too. After our testing, this ran out of water while on its highest setting in only 39 seconds. Now part of that's probably because it's a very intense stream, so it's probably pushing more water out, but 39 seconds is not a long time. So you may be refilling either every night for your flossing or maybe sometimes twice for one flossing. So it's not too big of a deal to fill it up, but it is something to consider. Although if you're just getting a wireless one just to travel with and you have a stationary one that's a plug-in, you never know. Pros and cons to this. For the tips, this gives you the same as the previous flosser with 2 standard jet tips, a periodontal jet tip, and an orthodontic tip, and a tongue scraper tip. This also gives you a carrying bag and a USB brick, as well as the cable for charging, which is nice. Overall, if you want super intensity and one that does not break the bank, this is great, but if you want something that you can dial back a little bit as well, let's move on to the the number 2 spot. And this is the Waterpik Aquarius water flosser, coming in a price tag of $99, but pretty consistently goes on sale for around 80 bucks. But again, check the links below for current pricing. This is the best stationary flosser. I love this thing. If you want a stationary one, this is the obvious pick. You really don't even need to look at any of the others. The performance here is the best on the list. If you want it super gentle, it can do that extremely well. If you want it to rip your face off and blast every piece of grime out of your teeth on high, it does that too. And it does that really well. In addition to that, it's not just how well it does the pressurization, but because this is disconnected and you have, well, the flosser in your hand, but then the controls where you can still see them on the countertop, it's really easy to dial in that wheel to know exactly how hard you're going and to dial it back. If in some areas of your mouth you want it a little bit less, you're able to dial this in on the go, whereas some of the others on the list, they've been a little bit harder, where you want to take it out of your mouth, set the pressure, and then put it back in. Now this gives you a massive water tank, which lasted the longest on the list at a whopping 100.6 seconds. That's a long time. That means you're doing multiple flosses without having to refill. So you're not refilling every day, you're refilling every 3 days. Now for refilling the tank, it's also super easy because the top pops off and then you just pick the tank up, refill it, set it back down, done. It's really easy. Unless you want or need a cordless flosser for traveling, this one is so dang convenient. But obviously you do have to have space on your bathroom counter for this to stay and set there. But if you have that space and if you want one that's not portable, wow, is this thing convenient. Now it comes with 7 tips. 4 regular jet tips, a plaque tip with a brush, a periodontal jet tip, and an orthodontic tip. This is great. It gives you 4 of those regular tips if you do want to share with the family. If everyone wants to use it, you can all use your own tip. They do have different colors on them, so you can keep your own tip and use it. That's a really nice thing to have. Now, a really cool feature is this has a built-in pacer that stops the flosser for half a second or so at the 30-second mark and the 1-minute mark. This is great to make sure you're consistently being consistent with how long you're flossing and to not over floss too. Overall, the best countertop-based water flosser. If that's what you're looking for, this is the no-brainer option, and it's quite trusted by like every dentist in the world. But with that, let's move on to the number 1 best water flosser on the list. This is the MySmile LP221, coming at a price tag of $57.59. For what you get here in a wireless flosser, this thing is crazy impressive. This has really impressively high pressure power, while also being by far the most adjustable wireless flosser on the list. You have 3 different settings of low, medium, and high, like a lot of the others. But this time you have 3 adjustments inside of each of those adjustments. So on low, you have 1, 2, and 3. Then on medium, 1, 2, and 3. So you actually have a total of 9 different pressure settings. That makes it go all the way from super gentle to really quite impressively aggressive, where it really dislodges all of that plaque and grime. Now the water tank is also nice and large, and it's better to fill with a twist off rather than that little hole. You don't spill very much, and it's just easier and faster. Now when testing this on its max setting, the water tank lasted 74 seconds, which is just about the max that you get for the biggest and best cordless flossers. I mean, that's only 25 seconds less than the countertop flosser. That's really impressive. That means you can go a few nights, 1 or 2 nights without having to refill in a wireless flosser. That's really impressive. Now, one of the really nice things is this has an OLED display for your settings, like speed. Now, it's super nice to actually turn that tip around and look in the mirror to see that OLED display, and that way it shows you its power level, also things like battery percentage. But when you rotate that tip, you can be in the mirror and go, hey, I need more aggressive pressure on maybe the front. And then when you get to the back, you want it to be a little bit gentler, and you can literally just look in the mirror and check that OLED display to see what your pressure is, and if you want to lower it, it makes it very easy to do that. Definitely by far the easiest to adjust on the fly for a cordless or wireless water flosser. Now also, this includes 8 freaking tips. You get 4 standard jet tips, a plaque tip with a brush, a periodontal jet tip, an orthodontic tip, and a tongue scraper tip. And this also comes with a nice carrying case, but holy crap, I love all of those tips. Overall, if you want a cordless flosser, because of the power, level of adjustability, water tank size, and all the tips, this is by far easily my #1 pick for the best water flosser on Amazon. But again, if you guys want to check out any of the 5 flossers, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. But this is a consumer product review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.